Everyone will start sharp in a minute, yeah? Just in a minute or less. Am I audible to everyone? I said I'm loud and clear, right?
Yes, sir.
I think we'll kickstart the session. So, greetings to everyone. I, Gerard Manik, on behalf of iINVENT Nabros, welcome you all to the iINVENT internship brainstorm, where our interns will be presenting their project ideas and aims, that is art, ideas, music, stories, and more. You're invited to be a part of the iINVENT paid program by visiting i-invent.org/internship. And you may get a chance to develop your 3Ps skills, that is the personal skills, people skills, and project skills for your holistic growth, plus get a chance to qualify for grants and scholarships. With that said, before I kickstart the session today, I would like to go through a couple of guidelines. Today's session. So I request the audience and other interns to keep their mic on mute during the. If you have any questions, please share it in the chat, right? So we may take it up during the Q&A, or you may use the raise your hand option on the WebEx app and ask your questions. Students, homemakers of all age groups are present during this session and or might be watching this session live. So all ideas need to be rated as G. Avoid ideas during the discussion or presentation that may offend someone's faith, political affiliation, or orientation. I request all the interns to listen carefully and please take down notes during the session and even the questions that you may have. After the session, please update the aims section of your clicks by sharing your learnings, your understanding. Also, you may input any queries or ideas that you may have. Please, I request everyone, please do not turn on your video, right? Please do not turn on your camera video due to security reasons. And also, please do not share your personal details during the session or in the chats. So with that said, I would like to introduce you to our intern today, who will be sharing her project and her project ideas and train of thoughts. So with us, we have Aishat Lana Shalam. She is from Maldives and she's studying 7th grade. During her free time, she is also a good artist and she loves free diving. Her goal in life is coral reefs and other marine ecosystem, right? She's currently working on the project that is relating to planting, saving, and protecting of corals and the marine life. And her aim and goal in life is to become one of the best marine biologists. So with that said, I would now hand over the mic to you. Okay, just give me a second, Aishat, until I pull up the PPT. Okay. So. Yes, Aishat, I think you may start once you can see the PPT.
Okay, so thank you and good evening, everybody. My name is Aishat. I'm from Maldives, and today I will be presenting my project on saving and planting corals. So the content is the introduction and the goal for my project: how to grow and plant and save corals. And then there's a Q&A, and I request everyone to wait till the Q&A to ask questions. Okay, so first I will be explaining what corals are. Corals are basically small animals that help maintaining our ecosystem health and biodiversity. And biodiversity is a variety of animals or plants, anything in an environment. And corals are very important for our environment. My goal of the project is to protect and grow corals to improve reef health and create awareness for everybody about how important corals are. what coral planting is. So when we go diving, there's a bunch of corals which are either broken because of us, some animals, or either they're bleached from the climate change. So I recognized this the past year, and I decided that I wanted to grow corals. So we started like collecting different pieces of broken corals, and we started placing them into deeper areas in the ocean to restore the coral reefs from bleaching and also animals. So how we grew plants is we first went around our whole area and we made sure to collect corals, but we had to be very careful because there are a few types of corals that are harmful, and it's really important to know which kinds are not and which kinds are. So we were very careful and we found on the shallower side the pieces of broken corals, and we took them back and we started planting them in the places without corals, in a deeper area, a cooler area where they cannot be harmed by the climate change. We checked on them for daily. We checked on them daily, and it's been 2 months since we started our project. While we were doing our project, we also created awareness in our whole community, and even some marine biologists from very far came and taught us more about this, also specialists, and they taught all of our students how important corals were and why we needed to protect them for our future. We also had multiple sessions where we all went and planted more corals. So there are safety measures to coral planting. First, before you go into the sea, of training you do. For me personally, I did two courses. One was a skin diver course and one was a diving course. And also we had to learn first aid because there are like a lot of emergencies in the seas. There are a lot of animals and other dangerous things in the sea. And the safety gears that we should use if we are going to sea is one is wetsuit. While we go into the sea, the main reason why we wear a wetsuit is to protect our body. In shallower areas, the corals will be very, it will be very near us, and if we touch them even the slightest, we could break a bunch of corals because corals are very fragile, and we can also hurt ourselves. Next is mask and snorkel. While we're in the sea, it's really important to know what's around us. So that's why we use masks to see what's around us and to help us if we have any predators approaching. We also wear gloves while we touch the corals. As I said before, there are few types of corals which are dangerous and they can cut you. Well, we also use fins. Fins help us with speed and it helps us dive deeper. Most of the time, professionals use long blades, but for the best is short blades or medium. And when we go coral planting, we take boards with us. Since we go into a very deep area, there will be emergencies where we have predators like sharks approaching us, or one of us might get tired, or there might be an emergency. So we always keep the board and we can all get on it and come back faster, and we can make sure everybody is safe. So the challenges and accomplishments I faced. The challenges were one of them was predators and pests. Since we started the coral plantation project, there were two animals that interfered with it, which was one was a parrotfish. In Maldives, parrotfish is a very common fish. It's like always around, and the thing they do they they eat the algae of corals. So while doing that, they will break the corals, and also if the algae is gone, the second point is climate change. When climate change happens, it gets really hot, causing the algae on the plants to burn and turns these corals that come in all kinds of colors turn white and gives them a less chance of survival. But that doesn't only happen to it only happens to a certain type of coral, which are called hard corals. The soft corals don't get affected. And also, one of the hardest things we faced was growth and time rate, because we had to make sure we checked on them to see if they were okay, and we had to make sure they were growing. And we did have two challenges where uh, the sun affected, and we had to like move 2 times, and also the tide affected it and broke the corals off, so we had to replant it. And the achievements were we saved our reefs. From what I remember, when we first started going diving, there was a lot of corals, and after it got hot and our corals were bleached, we did not have them as brightly colored as we. So when we started planting the corals, I noticed that the corals were growing, more animals were around. I was really happy with how much progress we made with the corals. And another thing is community impact. When we first started it, it was just like only me and my siblings going snorkeling. But then eventually we taught a bunch of students who all skills, and they they all taught me, even me, about the more about the sea than I knew. And I'm really thankful that they did, because now all of us are planning on saving our reefs for the future. So our next step is growing corals all over the area. Right now we only been growing corals in marine school, where we go diving the most, and that's actually the healthiest reef in our island, around our island. So I can only imagine how bad the other reefs are. So I want to make it as my goal to find more people, make make them join my project, help me grow corals all over our island and make it really beautiful, and restore so that the animals that used to stay around, like the eagle rays that stayed around our area, they left when the corals started bleaching. But as we did the coral plantation project, more of them came, and I want to save them for not only us but the animals too. So the 3P skills that helped me were personal skills, because I learned a lot about ocean and a lot of different things. I taught myself new skills like how to dive. And then second thing, there was people skills, because I met a lot of people from all over the world and all around my island who helped uh, on working on this project and taught me a lot of different things. Last one was project skills, because while we did this coral plant project, there was a lot to deal with. Project skills, because while we were doing this project, not many of us had the time, and we had to manage it really well because we were dealing with studies, hobbies, And the next slide, sir. Sir?
I said you went on mute when we were talking about project skills. Can you complete that, please?
Yeah, project skills, because while we were doing this project, a lot of us did not have the time as we were dealing with school, and we had to manage it to be able to grow them. And well, we had to check on the corals regularly to see if they were all right. It was really difficult to find the time for all of us, but in the end, we did manage it, and we learned a lot of new skills from each other. So I want to thank one of the people who sponsored us, which was Bugia Maldives. They sponsored us 10, sorry, Sigia Maldives. They sponsored us 10 masks and 10 fins, which the students from here use besides uh, me and my siblings. All of the other masks were used by the other students, and they were really helpful with this. And it was a lot of effort and a lot of money, which was MVR 20,000. So I'm really thankful for that. And then I'm thankful for Creative Arts and Crafts Training Center for sponsoring us the GoPro, because without the GoPro, we wouldn't have been able to take videos from how our reef was before and how we made our project, and we wouldn't be able to show everybody and show everybody how our project is going and make awareness for it. So I'm thankful for that.
So Aisha, thank you so much for the presentation. So guys, just before we move to the Q&A, there's a video that Aisha has shared with us. I mean, shared for all of us so that we can see, what she does underwater. I mean, she's just taken out with a GoPro that she just showed the camera, right? The basic of live, how the coral looks, okay, under the ocean. So here you go. Give me 1 second, everyone. Aisha, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
These all are the corals, right? Yeah. So children, what you're seeing is, Aisha, this is the corals, right?
Yes, and there are some damaged and dead corals there too.
Yeah. So I, when I'm just playing the video, just explain to them so that they understand. Okay. You can tell them what the corals look like. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, these are mainly the corals we see around the area. They're all different, and the main coral we have is called a table coral, which is attracted to the sun. And sometimes, when it gets really hot in Maldives, they burn it burns the algae off of them, causing them to go white. That's what we call coral bleaching. And also, while there's boats or uh, people snorkeling or swimming around the area, they also break corals, which is also really bad. So that's why we started this project in the first place, because we wanted to restore the reef that we first had when we first started going to marine school. And I'm really thankful for everybody who helped us.
Thank you, Aishat. So everyone, can we move to the Q&A? That was a good presentation, Aishat. So everyone, if you have any questions, please raise your hand and you all may ask the questions. Anyone with any questions?
No, sir.
No. How about kids in India? Basava, Kavya, we have Smita, right? Kids from Sri Lanka. So, Shara, any questions so far?
No, sir.
So, I'd appreciate some questions because this is okay. So, Aishat, there's a question that I received on the chat. So, there's a question saying that how important is corals, right? The growth of plantation of corals or corals, how they contribute to the nature. How do corals contribute to the nature?
Well, one thing that they do is, where I'm from is, which is Maldives, things we export, we only have two, which is fish and tourism. And the only reason we get those is from corals. That's why it's really important to Maldives, and that's why I want to save it in Maldives. But if we do research on it, the corals in Maldives are right now, people are saying is 90% more plastic in the sea than there is corals. So every time we go diving, we make sure to pick up any pieces, any little, even if it's little bits of coral pieces, we make sure to pick them up and we keep them all separated. That's also a bit of the project we do.
Okay. So, I think, Aisha, the question was, how do corals contribute to the nature? How important is it to the nature or maintaining balance in the nature? That was the question.
Well, one thing is, people say trees give oxygen, but actually, we get more oxygen than the sea than we do from trees, which is because of the corals. And also, corals maintain the economy's health, ecosystem's health, and all the fish, all the animals in the sea.
Okay. So, it helps. So, what I'm hearing is it helps in producing oxygen as well as, it is very helpful to the marine life, right? Or to the sea life, like the
Yeah,
fishes, the
it's also very
the other
important for
mammals.
us.
How to the Aisha, what are the benefits of the corals to the marine life or the sea life, like to the fishes, to the yeah mammals or whatnot? Yeah.
One thing is they provide homes for all of the fish and animals in the sea.
Okay. So they provide us like a shelter and home, like
Yes,
how birds take what do you call that? Excuse me.
trees,
How birds take
trees, yeah.
shelter in the sea on the trees and also depend on trees for their food. So that's how the
Yeah,
corals
there are some
enable.
animals that depend
Yeah. So
on corals as their food, like I
all the
mentioned.
fishes, the other living creatures in the ocean depend on corals for the shelter and for the food. Correct? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Good. Tushara, any questions from your end? Not sure if Tushara can hear us.
No.
You're all clear about what Aisha mentioned? You're on the same page. Smita, how about you? Any questions?
No, sir.
So all of you all do understand what are corals, right? Does anyone have a doubt what are corals? What I mean, most of you have studied what is algae also, right? Yeah. Smita, yeah, go ahead with your question.
So I don't understand that. What is the meaning of corals?
Aisha, can you explain her what are corals? So Aisha,
Well,
so Smita, it's in the book also, right? We study in the science subject, but yes, Smita, sorry, Aisha can just explain to her in brief.
well, in the video you saw plantish rocks, right? Actually, they're not plants or rocks; they're animals, and that's what we call corals. There's a bunch of different kinds of corals that come in different shapes and sizes. Like for example, there
Yeah,
is the most
Aisha, can
common.
you just point it out to the screen and I'm just sharing this, the screenshot. Sorry, the slide. So can you explain to Smita and everyone what are
Yeah,
corals?
so in these pictures you can see these rocks kind of things, right? I don't know how to explain it. Well, basically these are corals, and they come in all different kinds of shapes and sizes. There are a bunch of different kinds. Like for example, the main coral here is called a table coral. As you can see in this picture, there's these flat corals. That's what we call table corals. And one thing we should do is that we should be very careful with corals, as they're harmful for both us and them. And also, the thing about corals is they take a long time to grow, and these really big flat corals you see here, they took like millions of years to grow, and they're so fragile, and with one time could break. So we should be very careful with corals.
Yeah. So Smita and everyone, basically corals are, see, they are, I mean, they are living beings, right? Like how trees are living beings, corals also are living beings, right? Where they are grown in the water, right? But they are called as animals because they have tiny, like arms, right? They capture their own food from the water, right? So they also have like I think mouths also, right? Precisely, I'm not sure, but like they are, you can call it the underwater sea plantation, right? Or the trees. But technically, if you can go into more research, these are small animals. So I said, do they have roots and everything?
They don't have roots or a
Okay,
mouth.
okay, but then how do you grow them?
Well, during breeding seasons, they actually let out these polyps, which go around the whole area, and then they eventually attach to the ground and they start growing by themselves. It takes a long time for them to grow, but they do grow.
Okay, all right. So kids from India, like if you have been and others, right? I would highly recommend that when Aisha was present, mentioning about the coral project, I asked her also to explain this to you all. What are corals, right? I showed you all the pictures and everything. So I request all of you all, like if you all don't know much about corals, please go do and read about them, right? These are in your science subjects and everything. But anyways, I would also show some corals here so that you'll understand, right? You all might watch it in the movies and everything, or many places as well. Give me an example. Let me take a picture. Okay. So kids from India, right, Sri Lanka and all, have you all heard about this? Have you all seen this? Basava, Kavya, everyone? Do you all know what corals are?
Yes.
Okay, good. Smita, if you can see on the screen, right? These all are corals. Okay,
Yes, sir.
everyone. I kids from Sri Lanka also. Okay, all right. So, any other questions? Any questions from everyone? Anyone? Kavishri, any questions? Okay. Kids from Sri Lanka who all have joined? Nishadi, Is Nishadi Mihana on?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
So who have joined from Sri Lanka, Nishadi or Mihana? Like
Sorry,
how many of
sir.
you, how many of you have joined today?
Yes. Yes, sir.
So Tushira, okay, so Mihana, how many of you all have joined? Who all have joined from Sri Lanka? I just taking because I don't have the names here. So let me know. Mihana, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Mihana, who all have joined from Sri Lanka?
Nishadi, Mehan, and Nehara.
Or- So any questions from y'all? Nishadi, Mihana, Nihara, any questions?
No, sir.
Tushar, okay. So, okay, I got another question. Aisha, there's another question. So the question is, what was the biggest challenges that you faced? If you have any challenge that you faced during this project and you overcame it.
Okay, so the main challenge I faced was uh, during this time where these professionals came to check up on our reefs. Before that, we already started the project, but they said that our reef was really healthy, except there were corals bleaching. So this means when in Maldives we only have two seasons, like in weather mainly. It's either rainy or sunny. So most of the time it's sunny, and due to climate change nowadays it's been like really hot. And when it gets really hot, they burn the corals algae, which turns these colorful animals white. And when this happened, we needed to like relocate our coral to a deeper area. So we needed to be very careful not to harm the corals around us and to make sure that we didn't harm the corals that we were planting. So we needed to relocate it to at least a 3 meter deep area. That was that's when help from the professionals, and they taught us more about them. So that was a challenge that we overcame.
Good. And Aisha, for everyone's reference, okay, so before, like, I mean, Aisha might have already told you all, right? So students, this is a very important point to be considered. Okay, so what Aisha will talk more about it, but is, I mean, I would recommend you all, right, not to do this project until you all have good knowledge about the ocean. Okay, Aisha is doing this project because she lives in a country, Maldives, which is surrounded by the ocean, right? And they are from childhood. They are good swimmers, right? Good divers, and Aisha herself has gone under multiple training courses and accomplished those training courses, right, to go underwater. So don't please think, okay, I can take up this project, I can go and dive. No, right? So only these are done by professionals. Okay, did you all get it? Smita, kids from Sri Lanka, Tushara, Arhan, did you understand what I just said?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. How about Basava, Kavya? I'm not hearing anyone of you all from India.
Yes.
Okay.
Also, while we were teaching our students, we also faced challenges like that. One day when we were in the water, it was just me, my sister, and a student of ours. So when we were in the water, the people who were on a boat, who turned out to be police, actually spotted us, and they told us to go back because they said it was dangerous for us to be in the area alone due to dangerous animals.
So Aisha, can you let everyone know uh, what are the trainings that you went through? I know you already spoke about it, but if you could briefly talk about in detail about the training so that, I want the kids to understand, I mean, the other interest to understand, right, that this requires proper training.
So there's this app, it's called PSS.
No, one second. Huh? I said, when you talk about that, I just want to let everyone know what is skin diver course, what is free diving course, right? Yeah. And what is, yeah.
Yeah, so there was actually 5 courses to take. First was the skin diver course, and it taught us first about everything in the ocean, what we needed to do, what gears we needed to use, and then it tested us. And the free diving course was kind of similar, but it was about diving, and it tested us about how we needed to use our equipment and what would we do in certain situations. The other courses were for scuba diving, so I was not able to do those courses. And then there was a first, which was for emergencies in case anybody got hurt in the ocean.
So, and I said the other question would be, uh, so you went through any specific, I mean, you also went to a training where you got to know which courses are safe, which are not safe, correct?
Actually, I self-taught myself that along with creatures of the sea. But I did
Okay, but
learn from experts about seaweeds and corals. So yeah.
okay. Because the reason is that, uh, as we all know, children, right? I think I said, we correct me if I'm wrong. 90% of the ocean life is unknown to human beings. Okay, there's a lot of research pending, so that's why I would recommend all of you all just not to think about, okay, I can go and do this, right? It has to go. It has to go under proper, training. Proper techniques should be used, right? So until and unless you all should not be doing such projects, okay? And just because I cannot say that I know swimming, right, and I can do this. No, it requires proper training because there is a lot of risk involved, right? There are other many factors to be considered, and there are you just cannot go, right? There are couple of government norms in different countries. There are a couple of courses that you need to be aware of, as to which part of the ocean to go, which part of the ocean not to go. Am I right, Aisha?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We
And
have around the world, we have only discovered around 95% of the ocean. I mean, 5% of the ocean. So there's 95 we don't know. There's creatures and corals and a lot of things we don't know about the ocean that we need to be really careful for.
so, again, adding to what Aisha said is, so, I mean, there are only certain places wherein y'all can, where y'all can dive, where y'all can go, right? So all these things have to be taken into consideration, right? The norms of the sea, right, and other courses and everything. So this is not a course wherein is simple as we can go and plant a tree. I'm not saying plant a tree is difficult, but this is my kind of project which requires regressive training and education about it, about the marine life. Yeah. So with that said, Aishat, I once again thank you so much for the wonderful session. There might not be questions because this is a new topic, and also the way you brought it out today. I believe most of the other interns who have joined to this session have got uh, what you are trying to explain, right? And yeah, before I close the Q&A session, I would request you all if there are any questions. Any other questions from anyone? Any other questions from anyone? If not, I'm going to move ahead. Okay. So there are no questions, but I said thank you once again. And so with that said, everyone, give me 1 second. So I request all of you all, right, to friends, your families, right, and others, right, who may know your brothers, sisters, right, your classmates, your schoolmates, to go to invent.org/internship, right, and join the internship program. 1 second. There is some background noise. I'm not aware what's happening. Okay. So I request everyone to inform your others to go to ideas+inventorg/internship, right, wherein you will get and join by filling in this form, right, on the right hand you can see. Join the internship program, and you may qualify yourself to win scholarships and grants. So if you want to more details, please go to ideas+inventorg/. Fourth section that says details. Click on it. You can see the internship prerequisites, what is required to be a part of to qualify for the scholarship and grants. That meaning you don't need to work on a project, right? Share your aims on a weekly basis regarding your project in terms of accomplishment, challenges, the lessons learned, and which either three P skill have helped you. And the third part is to attend the weekly meetings, and also to conduct sessions like this by sharing your project ideas to everyone that Aisha did and Tushara did last week. And the winners and distribution list, right? So all the prize money per country wise, if you go under this winners and distribution section, you'll see everything. So in India, what is the prize money for the year, right? In Sri Lanka, so if you can see on top, is keep changing, right? Along with that, if you join the internship program, you all are getting training and technology. The budget is up to 50,000 USD or INR, right? So and also with that, you're also learning the project management skills, technology skills, right? You'll also be learning a part of you're also learning the 3P skills, that is how to enhance or develop your personal, people, and project skills, right? That will help you in your the three main priorities in your life, that is your health, your education, and your career. So with that said, so coming to the end of today's session, I request Smita from India who is also an iINVENT NABROS intern, to give the vote of thanks. Smita, you may go ahead.
Yes, sir. On behalf of iINVENT NABROS, India Clicks, Maldives Clicks, Sri Lanka Clicks, Evolves Life Foundation, MCKS Food of the Hungry Foundation Karnataka, we thank you Aishat, Lana, Shalam for sharing your project ideas and train of thoughts. I also thank every one of you for joining today's session. For those who could not make it to the session, please have them go to i-invent.org/internship, and in the aims section, they may review the recording from today's session. Thank you once again.
Thank you, everyone. Aishat, and good night, everyone, or good day. Have a better rest of the week. Thank you. And everyone in the next meeting, okay, I think most of the kids in India have exams the coming week. So in the next meeting on Tuesday, our interns meeting, I will announce who will be presenting the next week and what would be the time. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. You'll have a better rest of the day.